Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're talking about natural logs, or what you have seen as ln. Okay, so let me rewrite that a little bit better. So what you've seen as like a scripted L and N, that's a natural log. So what you're going to need today is your notes, a pen or a pencil, and a calculator. So before we write anything down, let's talk about what the number e is. So just like pi is an irrational number that's approximated to be like 3.1415 yada yada yada, right? The number e is also an irrational number, and it's roughly 2.71828, and it keeps going on, okay? This number was invented by Leonard Euler, okay? And basically, like, it's just another number like pi that has an approximation, and we just call it e instead of leaving it as 2.17828 because e is a little more accurate than just approximating it and rounding the decimal every single time. So we've talked about exponential functions where we have y equal to some b raised to an x power. E is a base for most exponential functions that happen naturally. So if we talk about carbon dating, if we talk about growth of butterflies, things that happen in nature, most of the time it's going to come back to this pattern of getting multiplied by a decimal that goes back to E. Okay, so E is the base of a number for e to the x, and so if we have e to the x equal to some number, that would be the same as saying log base e of n equal to x. So if we convert this guy into the log base e of n equal to x, that's also the same thing as the ln of that number times x. So if you want to write ln, that's the same thing as log with a base of e, okay? So what you're going to need now is your foldable. So if you want to get that out, that would be great. And then we're going to continue talking about natural logs. Okay, so make sure you write down what's in red. What is a natural log? A natural logarithm is a logarithm that has the base of e, and it's the inverse of the equation y is equal to e to the x. And the abbreviation is ln. So if you see ln of something, we assume that it's a log with the base e, even though we don't write it with its base e, okay? So remember that ln has a base of e even if it's not written. Okay, so let's get used to converting like we normally do. So if we're going from log or ln form to exponential form on this first one. So we have a base e even though it's not written there. So we have e to the dollar sign is equal to the smiley face. That would be our exponential form. So e to the dollar sign is equal to the smiley face, okay? And then same thing with this one. If we have ln of 1 equal to 0, we're assuming that it's a base e. So e to the 0 is equal to 1. And then if we're going from exponential form to logarithmic form, that means that we're going to do the log base thing. So we have log base e of 54.6 is equal to 4, but it's not proper to write log base e. What we want to do is write ln. So ln of 54.6 is equal to 4. So that's if we go from exponential form to logarithmic form with a base of e. Okay, now we want to rewrite it in the natural log form and then solve for x. So here's my first example. So if I want to rewrite this so I can get x out of the exponent, I'm going to have to log both sides of it or do the funky base thing. So it's going to be log base e, which is technically ln of 148.413, is equal to that exponent of x plus 1. So it's going to be ln of 148.413 is equal to x plus 1. And in your calculator, you should have an ln button. So you want to hit that. There's going to be a parentheses. Type in 148.413. Hit the end parentheses, and then hit enter. Whatever that crazy decimal is, you're going to subtract 1 from it on both sides. And then your final answer should be roughly 4. So x is approximately 4 on that guy. Okay, now we want to rewrite the exponential form and solve for x. So we want to change it to exponential form, which means I have a base of e, and it's getting raised to the 2, sorry, my mouse is kind of freaking out, 2.639, and that's equal to x. So if we plug into our calculator, there should be an e button, and then we raise it to the 2.639. We should get back roughly an answer of 14. So if you guys have questions on either of those two, it's just like solving logs or exponential equations, but now we're doing it with e or ln, the natural log, instead of just log of any other base. So nothing really super new other than the fact that we're doing ln instead of log. Okay, so all I want you to do is type these into your calculator exactly as you see them. So you're going to type in your calculator -2 ln, and then there's going to be a parentheses, you hit 4 and you hit end parentheses. The decimal that you get on your calculator should be -2.7726. And then if we move over, we have 3 times ln, so you're going to punch in 3, the ln button, the parentheses is going to come up, you're going to hit 5 plus 1, and then hit the end parentheses, and your decimal that you'll get should be roughly 5.3753. And if we move on to the next one, we have 1 plus 4 ln 6, so that's what it's going to look like in your calculator. Type it in exactly as you see it, and you should get a decimal that's 8.1670. Next problem. So because we don't have a parentheses around 10 plus 1, you're going to punch in -3 ln and then 10 end parentheses and then plus 1. Okay? And that number should be -5.9078. And for the last two, you're going to plug them in just as you see it. So you should get 7.6009, and for the last problem, 6.6609. So the whole point of these last 6 problems were for you to play with your calculator and to evaluate and get used to that ln button and that e button in your calculator, okay? So if you didn't get any of these decimals from your calculator, you may have to ask me for some help in class when you come back from the video. And if you really want, here's some extra examples that you can do on your own. So if you had a little bit of trouble following me with the other 2 examples, maybe try these ones. On your own, okay? So if you had trouble following along in the first 2 examples before we went to the calculator stuff, maybe you want to try some of these on your own. And then when we get back to class, we can go through these 3 examples in your notes. And then if you have any questions, you can ask me then. I want to thank you everybody for taking such good notes, and I'll see you soon.